Have you ever felt like you're swimming against a powerful current, exhausting yourself as you struggle to control every aspect of your life? Perhaps you've experienced that deep, unspoken frustration that comes when, despite all your careful planning, meticulous effort, and relentless determination, the outcomes you desire seem further away than ever. You go to sleep at night with your mind racing, filled with thoughts of what you should have done differently, what you need to fix tomorrow, and how you can finally get your life to conform to the vision you hold so tightly. This constant state of resistance, of pushing and grasping, has become so familiar that you might not even recognize how much energy it consumes, how deeply it affects your well-being, and how profoundly it disconnects you from the natural flow of life itself. The weight of this struggle sits heavily on your shoulders, creating tension in your body, anxiety in your mind, and a persistent feeling that something essential is missing from your experience. This struggle manifests in countless ways throughout your day. Perhaps you find yourself obsessively checking your phone for messages or updates, unable to be present in the moment because your attention is constantly pulled toward what might be happening elsewhere. Maybe you rehearse conversations in your mind, attempting to control how others perceive you or trying to manage outcomes that are ultimately beyond your influence. You might notice how your body tenses when things don't go according to plan, how your breath becomes shallow, how your thoughts spiral into scenarios of what could go wrong next. The physical sensations of control are real, from the tightness in your chest to the clenching of your jaw, from the disrupted sleep patterns to the digestive issues that seem to have no medical explanation. This state of being has become so normalized that you've forgotten what it feels like to exist without this constant internal pressure. This perpetual reaching for something that seems to move further away, the harder you try to grasp it. I understand this struggle intimately, and I recognize the courage it takes to even consider that there might be another way of being in the world. The patterns of control and attachment that define so much of our experience aren't simply habits we've developed by chance. They're deeply ingrained responses to a culture that valorizes achievement over presence, doing over being, and acquisition over appreciation. The irony that so many of us face is that in our desperate attempts to create security and fulfillment, we actually disconnect from the very source that could provide what we're seeking. Each time you tighten your grip on life, demanding that it conform to your expectations, you're actually constricting the flow of universal intelligence that wants to move through you and guide you toward your highest expression and deepest joy. This isn't your fault, and the fact that you're here now, listening to these words, suggests that some part of you recognizes that the path of control hasn't led to the peace you seek. What if I told you that the universe is constantly responding to your energy rather than your actions alone? That when you learn to release your grip on life, to surrender to the flow of existence without abandoning your deepest intentions, something miraculous begins to happen. The very things you've been striving so hard to attain start to appear with an ease and grace that your striving could never produce. This isn't magical thinking or passive resignation, it's an alignment with the fundamental nature of reality itself. Just as water naturally flows around obstacles, rather than forcing its way through them, just as plants grow toward the light without straining or effort, there is a way of moving through life that honors your desires while releasing attachment to exactly how they must manifest. This state of relaxed allowing, of intentional surrender, opens channels of possibility that remain closed when we operate from control and force. Throughout our time together today, I'll share with you a practical understanding of how letting go actually invites the universe to respond more generously to your deepest desires. You'll discover specific practices that will help you release the patterns of attachment and control that have kept you feeling separate from the abundance and flow that is your natural state. You'll learn how to distinguish between surrender and resignation, between allowing and apathy. Most importantly, you'll begin to experience firsthand how the universal intelligence that governs all of creation is not something separate from you but is the very essence of who you truly are. This understanding, when embodied rather than merely intellectualized, transforms not just your experience of life but the actual circumstances and relationships that constitute your reality. Have you ever noticed that the moments of greatest joy and fulfillment in your life often come unexpectedly, in those rare instances when you've momentarily forgotten to control everything? Perhaps it was during a bout of uncontrollable laughter with a friend, or while being completely absorbed in the beauty of nature, or in that state of flow where time seems to disappear as you engage in an activity you love. These glimpses of freedom, These tastes of what life feels like when we release our grip are not accidental. They're revealing a profound truth about our relationship with the universe, a truth that, once understood and applied consistently, can transform your experience from one of struggle and scarcity to one of flow and abundance. This transformation isn't about adding something new to your life. It's about removing the barriers you've unknowingly placed between yourself and the natural state of grace that is always available to you. I wonder, what area of your life feels most constricted right now? Where do you feel that tightness of control, that anxiety about outcomes, that desperate need for things to unfold exactly as you've planned? Take a moment to bring this situation to mind, to notice the physical sensations associated with your concern about it, to observe the thoughts and stories you've been telling yourself about what needs to happen for you to feel okay. This awareness itself is the beginning of freedom, for we cannot release what we do not first acknowledge. As we continue our exploration today, I invite you to hold this situation gently in your awareness, not to fix or change it right now, but simply to use it as a reference point for the principles and practices we'll be discussing. Through this specific example from your own life, you'll begin to experience firsthand how the art of letting go creates space for the universe to respond in ways that often exceed what your controlling mind could have imagined or orchestrated. I'd like to invite you to share your experience with letting go in the comments below. What area of your life has been most challenging to release control over? What happens when you try to surrender and trust the process? Please type "I'm learning to let go of ... double quotes, and complete the sentence with whatever resonates most deeply with you right now. Your sharing creates a powerful field of collective wisdom and support. Many who watch this video are experiencing similar challenges, and your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. There's something profoundly healing about naming our struggles and witnessing others do the same, about recognizing that we're not alone in our human experience of attachment and control. When you share your truth in the comments, you're not only supporting your own journey of release, but creating space for others to do the same. This community of conscious seekers grows stronger with each authentic exchange, with each moment of vulnerability and connection. I read every comment and am deeply touched by your willingness to engage so honestly with these teachings. The wisdom traditions of the world have long recognized that our attachment to specific outcomes is the root of suffering. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna instructs Arjuna, "You have the right to work, but never to the fruit of work." This teaching isn't suggesting that we abandon our desires or cease our actions in the world, but rather that we release our clinging to exactly how those desires must manifest. When we become fixated on a particular form or timeline for our good to appear, we actually restrict the infinite ways the universe might fulfill the essence of our desires. Imagine that you're seeking a romantic partnership, and you've become attached to a very specific type of person or relationship. This attachment creates a kind of tunnel vision that might cause you to miss the perfect partner who doesn't fit your mental image, but who could bring you the love, growth, and joy you truly seek. The universe responds not to our detailed prescriptions, but to the energy and intention behind them, to the essence of what we're truly asking for beneath our specific mental pictures. This principle applies to every area of life, from career to health, from creativity to spiritual growth. When we release our tight grip on the form our good must take, we open to possibilities beyond our limited imagination. This doesn't mean becoming passive or abandoning our dreams, but rather holding them with an open hand rather than a clenched fist. In this state of relaxed intention, of desire without attachment, we align with the creative principle of the universe itself. Just as nature doesn't force a flower to bloom, but provides the conditions for its natural unfoldment, we can learn to create the conditions for our desires to manifest without the constricting energy of control and demand. This shift from forcing to allowing, from grasping to receiving, fundamentally alters our relationship with life itself. The ancient wisdom of letting go finds scientific support in our modern understanding of the quantum field. Quantum physics has revealed that what we perceive as solid matter is actually mostly empty space, with particles popping in and out of existence in response to observation and expectation. At this fundamental level of reality, everything is interconnected, and consciousness itself appears to influence how energy manifests as matter. When we maintain a state of stressed attachment, constantly monitoring and worrying about outcomes, we actually send conflicting signals into this responsive field. Our words and thoughts might be saying, "I want abundance," or "I desire health," But our emotional state of anxiety and control communicates a very different message of lack and fear. The universe responds not to our words alone, but to our dominant energetic signature, to the totality of our being. This understanding offers a practical approach to manifestation that goes beyond simplistic positive thinking. It's not about affirmations alone, but about aligning your entire being, including your emotional state and physical sensations, with the essence of what you're calling into your life. When you release attachment to outcomes while maintaining clear intention, you resolve the contradictory signals that often delay or distort manifestation. This state of relaxed clarity, of intentional surrender, creates a coherent energetic signature that the universe can respond to with precision and power. The paradox here is profound. By releasing your desperate need for something to happen, you actually increase the likelihood of it manifesting, often in ways far more magnificent than your controlling mind could have conceived. One of the most powerful practices for cultivating this art of letting go is conscious breathing. Your breath is always available as an anchor to the present moment, as a bridge between your conscious and unconscious mind, and as a tool for releasing tension and resistance. When you find yourself caught in the grip of control, simply bringing your attention to your breath can begin to shift your state. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, allowing your belly to expand, and then exhale completely through your mouth, releasing with your breath any tension or attachment you've been holding. With each inhale, imagine drawing in universal life force energy, and with each exhale, picture yourself releasing anything that no longer serves your highest good. This simple practice, performed for even a few minutes, can dramatically shift your energetic state from constriction to expansion, from resistance to receptivity. Another powerful practice involves reframing your relationship with uncertainty. Most of us have been conditioned to fear the unknown, to experience anxiety when we can't predict or control what's coming next. Yet all true creativity, all genuine transformation, emerges from this space of not knowing. The next time you feel anxious about an uncertain outcome, try saying to yourself, "I don't know exactly how this will unfold." And that's where the magic happens. This simple reframe begins to shift your relationship with uncertainty, from one of fear to one of anticipation, from resistance to curiosity. As you practice this consistently, you'll find yourself becoming more comfortable in the space of not knowing, more trusting of the process of life itself, and more open to possibilities that your controlling mind could never have imagined or orchestrated. The practice of gratitude also plays an essential role in the art of letting go. When we focus on appreciating what is already present in our lives, we shift our energy from lack to abundance, from striving to receiving. This isn't about denying challenges or pretending everything is perfect, but about recognizing that even in difficult circumstances, there are always aspects of our experience for which we can be genuinely thankful. Each morning or evening, take a few moments to identify 3 specific things for which you feel grateful. Allow yourself to fully experience the emotion of gratitude, to feel it in your body, not just acknowledge it intellectually. This practice gradually rewires your neural pathways, creating new patterns of perception that naturally align you with the flow of abundance, rather than the constriction of scarcity. As your focus shifts from what's missing to what's present, from what's wrong to what's right, you naturally release the tight grip of control and open to the generosity of the universe. Many of us struggle with letting go because we've misunderstood what this practice actually entails. Letting go doesn't mean not caring or not taking action. It doesn't mean becoming passive or abandoning your dreams and desires. Rather, it means releasing attachment to exactly how those desires must manifest and on what timeline. It means taking inspired action without being fixated on specific outcomes. It means recognizing that your controlling mind, with its limited perspective, cannot possibly know all the infinite ways your good might come to you. This distinction between surrender and resignation is crucial. Resignation says, "Nothing matters, so why try?" Surrender says, "I will do my part with full engagement, then release my attachment to outcomes, trusting in a wisdom greater than my own." Similarly, many confuse letting go with bypassing emotions or denying reality. True surrender involves fully acknowledging your current experience, including any challenging emotions or circumstances, and then choosing to release resistance to what is. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it isn't, but about recognizing that your resistance to reality creates an additional layer of suffering beyond the challenge itself. When you stop fighting against what is already happening and instead direct your energy toward what can be changed or created from this point forward, you align yourself with the flow of life rather than positioning yourself against it. This alignment is what allows the universe to respond more generously and creatively to your desires and intentions. As you develop this practice of intentional surrender, you'll begin to notice synchronicities appearing more frequently in your life. These meaningful coincidences, these moments when the external world seems to align perfectly with your internal state or needs, are not random accidents, but glimpses of the responsive intelligence of the universe. Perhaps you'll think of a friend you haven't spoken to in years, only to receive a message from them minutes later. Or you'll have a question on your mind, then open a book to the exact page that addresses your inquiry. Or you'll express a desire for a particular experience, then receive an unexpected invitation to exactly such an event. These synchronicities aren't occasional anomalies, but the natural functioning of a conscious universe that is constantly responding to your energy and awareness. As you release resistance and control, these meaningful alignments become more noticeable and more frequent, further reinforcing your trust in the process of life itself. Another powerful dimension of letting go involves releasing identification with the stories we tell about ourselves and our lives. Each of us carries narratives about who we are, what we're capable of, what we deserve, and how life works. These stories, often formed in childhood or through significant experiences, can limit what we allow ourselves to receive and experience. Perhaps you carry a story that you have to struggle to succeed, or that you're not naturally creative, or that relationships are always difficult. As you bring conscious awareness to these narratives, you can begin to recognize them as interpretations rather than absolute truths, as learned perspectives rather than fixed reality. This recognition creates space to consciously choose new stories that better serve your evolution and joy. When you release attachment to limiting identities and narratives, you open to possibilities previously unavailable within your former conceptual framework. The practice of meditation provides a powerful laboratory for developing this skill of letting go. In meditation, we observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without becoming identified with them, without getting caught in their grip. We practice returning again and again to our center, to the observing presence that witnesses experience without being consumed by it. This capacity to witness without attachment gradually extends beyond our meditation practice into our daily life. We begin to observe our reactions to challenging situations with greater spaciousness, to notice when we're becoming fixated on particular outcomes, to recognize when we're holding our breath or tensing our body in an attempt to control what cannot be controlled. This awareness itself creates the possibility of choice, the opportunity to consciously release what we've been unconsciously gripping. As you deepen your practice of letting go, you may encounter resistance from the ego, the aspect of you that derives its identity and security from control. This resistance is natural and to be expected. The ego believes that constant vigilance and management are necessary for survival and success. It doesn't trust the flow of life or the wisdom of surrender. When you feel this resistance arising, approach it with compassion rather than judgment. Recognize that this part of you is trying to keep you safe in the only way it knows how. Thank it for its concern, and gently remind it that there is a greater wisdom at work in your life, that you're not abandoning discernment or responsibility, but simply releasing the constricting energy of attachment and control. This compassionate approach gradually allows the ego to relax its grip, to trust in a process larger than its limited perspective can comprehend. Throughout history, those who have mastered this art of letting go have discovered that the universe responds with an intelligence and generosity far exceeding what could have been orchestrated through force and control. Think of the great spiritual teachers, artists, scientists, and leaders whose contributions have transformed our world. Their power came not from rigid control but from a receptivity to inspiration, an openness to possibilities beyond conventional thinking, a willingness to surrender to a creative process larger than their individual ego. Einstein spoke of his scientific insights coming to him in moments of relaxed contemplation rather than strained effort. Mozart described melodies appearing complete in his mind, requiring only that he write them down. Gandhi's political power emerged from his surrender to truth and non-violence rather than from force or manipulation. These examples remind us that our greatest contributions and experiences often come not from striving and forcing, but from aligning with the creative intelligence that flows through all of life. As we begin to conclude our time together, I want to acknowledge that this practice of letting go is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey. There will be days when surrender feels natural and effortless, when you experience the joy and freedom of release. There will also be times when you find yourself caught once again in the grip of control, when old patterns of attachment resurface in response to stress or challenge. This oscillation is part of the human journey, and each return to attachment is not a failure, but an opportunity to practice the art of letting go once more, with ever-deepening awareness and compassion. The measure of your progress is not in never experiencing attachment again, but in how quickly you notice when you've become attached, and how gracefully you can release back into trust and flow. With each cycle of gripping and releasing, your capacity for surrender deepens, and your experience of the universe's responsive nature becomes more consistent and profound. The invitation before you now is to begin exactly where you are, with whatever situation in your life feels most constricted by control and attachment. You don't need to force yourself to let go all at once, or to pretend you're completely at peace if you're not. Simply bringing gentle awareness to where you're holding tight is the beginning of release. Notice the physical sensations associated with your attachment, the thoughts and emotions that accompany it, the stories you're telling yourself about what needs to happen for you to be okay. Then, with great compassion for yourself, and the very human tendency to grip when afraid, consciously choose to soften around these sensations, to create space around these thoughts and emotions, to consider that there might be perspectives beyond the stories you've been telling. This gentle approach, practiced consistently with patience and self-compassion, gradually transforms your relationship with life itself, opening you to the abundant response of a universe that has always been conspiring in your favor. I want to thank you for joining me in this exploration of how letting go invites the universe to respond more generously in your life. The fact that you've stayed with me throughout this discussion reflects your readiness for a deeper relationship with life, your willingness to consider approaches beyond the conventional wisdom of control and force. This openness itself is a form of surrender, a letting go of limiting beliefs and patterns in service of your evolution and joy. I honor the courage this requires and the commitment it represents to your own growth and awakening. By taking the time to engage with these teachings, you've already begun to shift your energetic signature to align more closely with the natural flow of universal intelligence. The journey you've begun today is one that unfolds uniquely for each person who undertakes it. As you continue to practice the art of intentional surrender in your daily life, you'll discover your own direct experience of how the universe responds to this shift in your being. This first-hand knowing goes beyond anything I could describe and becomes the foundation of an unshakable trust in the process of life itself. I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to continue this journey together, exploring further dimensions of consciousness, spirituality, and the art of aligned living. Each video offers another facet of the profound wisdom that is your birthright, another practice to support your awakening to your true nature and potential. This channel represents more than just information. It's a community of conscious seekers supporting each other in remembering who we truly are, beyond the conditioning of separation and control. When you subscribe, you join a growing field of awareness that strengthens each individual's journey while contributing to the collective awakening so needed in our world today. The regular practices and perspectives shared here create a rhythm of remembrance, a consistent invitation to return to your natural state of connection with the universal intelligence that flows through all of life. Just as a river finds its way to the ocean not through force but through surrender to gravity, your life finds its highest expression not through control but through alignment with the natural flow of consciousness itself. By subscribing, you create a channel for this wisdom to flow regularly into your awareness, supporting the profound transformation that is already underway within you. The practices and perspectives we've explored today are not just concepts to understand intellectually, but invitations to a lived experience of freedom and flow. As you implement them in your daily life, you'll discover that the more you learn to let go, the more the universe responds with an intelligence and generosity that far exceeds what your controlling mind could have orchestrated. This responsive relationship with life is your natural state, not something you need to earn or achieve, but something to remember and return to through consistent practice and awareness. The journey of surrender is ultimately a journey home to yourself, to the truth of who you are beyond the constructs of separation and control. I am deeply grateful to be a companion on this journey with you, and I look forward to continuing our exploration together in future videos. Until then, may you walk in the grace of surrender, experiencing firsthand how letting go creates space for miracles to unfold in your life in ways both subtle and profound.